that usually we do over 4 weeks. Um, but we're going to just do them all in this one event. I say that we're actually going to go over them again in a few weeks, but break them down into smaller bite-sized pieces and then expand on those pieces a little bit. So this is a combined 4-week AHA series. Now, for those of you that don't know what we're doing here and who this group is, these are our VIPs, and this is our group mentoring session that we have every Wednesday, and normally it's at 12:15. Decided to do something a little bit different this time and invite a few other people to come and listen and participate to get a better understanding of what's involved in the AHA sessions, and then maybe to pick up a few interesting and valuable tidbits along the way. So we've got this kind of a special event today. Everybody can hear me okay, right? Wanted to make sure we gave everybody a chance to get here. Yesterday was crazy. We got started almost on time and had a really small crowd when we first started, and within about 4 minutes we had dozens of people compiling in all at once. So we'll see if that's the case again today. All right, good. All right, so many of you are already VIPs. You've been part of the VIP program, and you're here again to hear this presentation. Now, here's how the AHA sessions work. Again, this is a little bit different. This is not something like a webinar that I'm going to be trying to sell you something or give you a lot of information about our trading products. We'll do that another time. This is just an expanded version of our educational program for our VIPs. Now, you have to be a VIP to come to these events every week. We have them in a different room than what we're having here, and all the VIPs already have access to that room. So it's kind of a small private group that gets to come to these. Actually, it's getting to be a larger group because the majority of our members either are or either signed up as VIPs or they upgraded to VIPs. I see a couple of upgrades here with us today. Patsy's here. She just upgraded. Welcome, Patsy, and congratulations on the upgrade. I see a couple other people here that have upgraded recently. So if you haven't been to an AHA session before, maybe this is your first one. Alan counts for two. This is a program. These AHA sessions are designed to teach us the way we actually learn things. So you can watch all the videos you want about trading, about trading education, about trading psychology. You can watch all you want. And the problem is what we usually do is we try to binge watch them, and when we have time and we watch all of them, we pick up some high points from those things and then never really learn how to apply them, these high points, with the things that we find interesting. So there's a lot of companies out there that are going to offer you an educational series, and they're going to say, here's a bunch of DVDs or a list of recorded videos, and you watch those and you'll be a professional trader in no time. Okay? That's not how people learn. That's not how I learn. That's something that I kept trying to do for many years, kept thinking, well, I've got the videos and I've got the books and I've read all this stuff. How come none of this is working for me? Well, here's what happened, okay? First of all, let me take a step back here real quick. These AHA sessions, 2 people, 2 VIPs. that she said you qualify as 2 VIPs now. So these aha, because she's just being funny, or she thinks she's being funny. So these aha sessions that we do, these aha sessions are intended to help us understand and learn the things that we need to know, but don't know we need to know. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Many of you are familiar with the movie The Karate Kid. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Maybe it's actually been a long time. I actually rewatched it again a few months ago. And okay, yes, it's a cheesy movie, but it's got a really good story and lesson to teach there. So just a quick summary of what happened in The Karate Kid. This kid, Daniel, in the beginning of the movie, it was the new kid, and he got picked on and beat up by a bunch of other kids. These kids were all using karate, and so he didn't want to get beat up anymore. So he went to this karate master, Mr. Miyagi, and he said, "I'm tired of getting beat up. I want you to teach me how to fight." And Mr. Miyagi didn't want to at first, but then he relented and said, "Okay, I'll teach you. You come back here tomorrow, and I'll teach you." And so the kid shows up, and Mr. Miyagi says, "Okay, you wash and wax my cars." All right, remember that? Wax on, wax off. We all remember that. So every day, Daniel shows up to wash the cars, wax on, wax off. And then Mr. Miyagi says, "Okay, car's all done now. Come paint my fence. Brush up, brush down." Okay? So after a period of time, Daniel's fed up. He's like, "This guy's taking advantage of me. I don't mind paying for the lessons with some work, but this has been going on for too long. This guy's taking advantage of me. I need to learn karate," which to him means punching and kicking and fighting. He wants to learn how to fight. So he's fed up, and he tells Mr. Miyagi, "I'm out of here. You're taking advantage of me, and I'm just here to learn how to fight, and you're just one more person taking advantage of me." And Mr. Miyagi says, "Okay, but first, before you do, I want you to do something. I'm going to throw a punch, and I want you to wax on and wax off." Okay? So everybody knows the story, right? So he throws the punch, and he does the wax off, blocks that punch. He does the paint the fence, blocking punches and blocking kicks and stuff. So here's the point of all of this. Daniel thought, because what he sees is punching and kicking in karate. And so to him, that's what you need to be able to do to be successful at karate, to be proficient at karate. Obviously, it's all about punching and kicking. What he didn't know was that you had to build a foundation before you get to punching and kicking. You had to build an understanding and a knowledge of something other than punching and kicking, which was defense. He had no idea how important that was when it came to karate. In fact, it never occurred to him because it wasn't what he was paying attention to. Okay, so it was something more of a foundation that he was missing that he didn't know. So this is what we're teaching you in the VIP AHA sessions. We're giving you a foundation from which to learn to trade. We're not going to teach you in these AHA sessions how to trade our trading system, how to bunt trade. We're not going to go over charts. We're not going to show you indicators or talk about setups. We do that in other venues. We did that yesterday in one of our fast forward training sessions. We have a training program for that. This is the other thing. This is the mentoring. Now, we do this weekly because we want you to take small pieces of this at a time and digest it, and not take a whole bunch of information, pick out the fun stuff, the stuff you wanted to hear, and get rid of the rest of it, okay? Because we don't learn that way. Little bit at a time every week. Now, this session, we're going to go through a little bit more than what we normally do in a week, okay? This is one of the, probably one of the favorite series in the whole AHA series. This series, by the way, runs for 6 months and then repeats itself again. Every 6 months, we start from scratch. And we do this, again, for a very good reason. This is how we learn. Those of you who are VIPs can attest to the fact that after a while, you learn a lesson, but after a while, you might start to drift away from it. You might have forgotten it. You might not be applying it the way you know you should. Okay? So we come back and we remind you. And every time we remind you, every time you get that aha again, you've got it a little bit better. It's a little bit stronger in your mind. You've learned the lesson a little bit better. Okay? So start trading as a business. Now, this was an aha that came to me that at the time, I don't remember whether it was an aha or not. A lot of my ahas I figured out were ahas in hindsight. And this hindsight was when I was endeavoring to create our mentoring program here that we call the Trader RX mentoring program. And so to build this program, I thought, well, how do I go about building it? Well, I sat down and started thinking, what were the things that changed things for me? Where were the turning points? And at the time, I didn't know all of them. Some of them hit me like a ton of bricks, but some of them didn't. One of the questions I asked myself was during the very beginning part of me trying to turn my trading around, and at the time I was a miserable trader, so I had no idea that the answer to this question was going to make such a dramatic change at the time. So of course this is all hindsight. But my question was, if I'm as successful as I am in my construction business, I also had some hot tub stores. If I'm able to be so successful in those businesses, why is it that trading success so totally eludes me? And so I thought about that for a minute, and then the answer seemed pretty obvious. You're not trading like it's a business. And I know a lot of you are sitting there thinking, going, well, I don't know how to trade, so why would you? Or I'm not a good trader, or whatever. So why would I ever trade like a business? This isn't going to apply to me because I don't know how to trade yet, so I'm just going to tune out. Well, don't tune out just yet. I know there are a lot of reasons people don't start businesses and don't even think about starting businesses, don't think of themselves as business owners. But specifically, why not start a trading business? So I'm gonna come right up and say and show you that I'm kind of reading your mind a little. Even if you're not thinking about some of this stuff, you're feeling it. Why bother when you don't even know how to trade yet? So I have another little story for you. I started my construction business all by myself when I first started construction. I didn't have any employees or anything. And I knew how to build stuff, and I just wanted to do small things on my own. And so I started out just building custom decks on the ground, and I could do that by myself, okay? So one day I'm eating lunch by myself, and I'm just sitting there, and I look up and I see a fence around this yard that I happen to be working in, a wooden fence. It's big out in Atlanta. I don't know. I know some parts of the country have different kind of fences, but here, a lot of wood fences. And I'm looking at the tools that I have for building decks, and I look at the fence. I'm like, I have everything I need. Now, I've never built a fence before in my life, but I have everything I need. So the next time I ran an advertisement for my deck business, I thought, you know what? I'm going to run another page in this advertising booklet for a fence company. I'm going to start a fencing business. Did I know how to build a fence? Nope. Bet I could figure it out though, because I'm a problem solver and I had all the tools. But the most important thing about that was I knew I wasn't going to let that thing fail. I knew I wasn't going to fail. I was going to push myself to learn it because now I've got people with expectations that I know what I'm doing. In fact, the very first job I got, the guy said he had 3 other fence companies come out and he hired me because he felt like I knew what I was doing. I thought, oh, thank you very much. No, never built a fence in my life. Anyway, that company ended up growing to be one of the larger fence companies in the area that we ended up selling it off, and they're still in business. So I know that you think you don't know how to trade yet, so that would be a reason not to start, or you don't think it's necessary. You know, why in the world? All you need to do is learn how to push the button, right? Just like Daniel, all he needs to do is just punch and kick, and then he could be proficient at karate. Maybe it makes you a little nervous. Maybe the whole idea of running a business is very scary for you. It's why you've always had jobs working for other people, that you want other people to take the risk. Let me tell you, if you're trying to be a trader, you better know how to run a business, or you better start thinking about it as a business, especially if it's going to generate income. How about it's too busy? No, I just want to learn how to push the button and when to push the button. I'm way too busy to run a business. I have my full-time job, and then I'm coaching, and then I got to pick up the kids, and I got to make dinner, and I got to do all the grocery shopping, and I got to help the kids with the homework at night, and by the end of the day, I'm way too tired. So I'm way too busy to start a business, so that doesn't pertain to me. Skip that. Let's move on. How about you're just too scared? You're scared of the failure of running a trading business. More than likely, though, it never occurred to you. Because it never, ever occurred to me to approach trading the same way I was approaching my businesses, until that somewhat of an epiphany that I had that day. Hey, Tony, that maybe you're not as successful at trading because you're not doing the same thing that you do in your other businesses. So it had never actually occurred to me to approach trading that way. So why should you start a trading business? And start your trading business and trading as a business. Okay? Well, for one, nobody is more dedicated to succeeding than a small business owner. When I was running my small construction business it became a medium-sized construction business, I would end up working all day out on the job site, and then everybody else would go home. All my crews would go home, and the people in the office would go home. Everybody would go home. And I would come in after a hard day of work, and I would jump in the shower, and my wife would often feed me dinner in the shower while I was hurrying up to get dressed to go jump out in my truck and go drive around talking to customers and prospects and doing estimates and all of that. In the evening, come home, sit at my desk until 1 or 2 in the morning, doing all of the estimates and all of the construction takeoffs, getting everything ready for the guys to show up for work in the morning, all that stuff. and then get up at 6 a.m. and do it all over again. And why did I do that? Because that's what it took for my business to be successful. And nobody else was going to do that. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have been successful. When you're thinking about your business, if you do a good job, the money shows up. Okay? Certainly there's time when running a business, there's time to do the focus on the money. But if you're solely focused on money while you're working at your business, if every decision you make is based on money and everything that you do has money tied to it, you will not have a successful business because there's a lot more to that business than money. Money is the net result of having a good business. Okay? That's not what business is about. It's the result of a good business. All right, so the focus shifts. Now, in my construction business, I got up and I went to work, and my goal was not thinking about, oh, if I drive this nail, I'm going to make this much money. Oh, if I, I carry this load of lumber over here, I'm going to make this much money. If I do this, I'm going to make this much money. No, it wasn't about that. It was about, if I do this job really, really well, then I'm going to have a happy customer. If I have a happy customer, he's going to gladly pay me, and then he's going to tell other people, and I'm going to get more work. Okay? So my focus was on the business and having a good, strong, successful business, and let the money take care of itself. There's a division of labor in business. This is very important to your trading business. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to come up to this. The division of labor. That you, in any business. Now, if you're running your own trading business, you're every employee. But still, there's a point in time where you have to divide up that labor and do individual parts of that business at individual time, and not worry about the other stuff while you're doing it. All right? So there is a division of labor. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more coming up. There's, of course, planning and record keeping. That needs to happen in business. Now, I know a lot of you don't do a lot of planning and record keeping in your trading because you think, I'll do that after I learn how to become successful. I did that. And it's very interesting because that's exactly backwards. And we teach this in another, I'll go over it a little bit, but we actually have another series on planning and record keeping that we're not going to go over tonight, but we do go over in other AHA sessions. Now, there are certain qualities that small business owners have. And I promise you, they're not born with them. They're earned. You've got to earn these qualities to be a small business owner. There's devotion and sacrifice and dedication and determination and drive and patience. You learn to deal with obstacles, and again, more planning. Now, do you think that those qualities might help you in running a trading business and becoming more successful as a trader? A lot of us don't have those qualities, aren't born with those qualities. We're not, they're not innate in us. But you can earn them. And nobody earns them more than a small business owner. So this is another good reason to start a trading business so that you can work on those qualities and earning those qualities, because they will come back to pay dividends. So why is it that you think, there's a lot of us small business people out there, but there's a lot more people that do a lot of dreaming of starting their very own business? Why do you think that people dream about it? No more working for the man. That may be why you want to trade and be a trader and learn this trading thing. You don't want to work for somebody else anymore. You don't want to build somebody else's dreams for them. You want to build your own dreams. What about the freedom or perceived freedom? I say perceived because I've been a small business owner pretty much my entire adult life. And I know a lot of people think there's a lot of freedom that comes with being a small business owner. And there is some truth to that. The other side of that is every one of your customers is also your boss. So you're kind of, trapped in that. There is freedom to make your own decisions without having to be accountable to somebody else above you that has some sort of power over you besides your customers. So a lot of people want to start their very own business or dream about it because of the perceived freedom that's involved. Or how about a challenge, a new challenge? If you're working at the same job you've been doing for 20 years and there's just no more challenges, and the thought of starting your own business kind of gets those juices flowing, right? Kind of maybe you push yourself to do something you're not sure you can do, or maybe you learn a new skill and develop new knowledge that comes with running a new business. And I can tell you, it's exciting and it's fun to create a new business and to get it launched and off the ground. It is challenging, and when things are challenging, nothing can be more rewarding. You have a sense of job satisfaction that your current employer will never afford you because you made a difference. Maybe you don't have the opportunity to make a difference. And maybe you just want to do something you love and do it every day and do that for a living. Maybe it's a pursuit of a passion. If you have a hobby of being a collector, and maybe you want to turn that hobby into something that you love collecting so much, you want to meet and hang out with other collectors, and you want to buy and sell from these people, and you think, oh, well, there's a good opportunity here. So maybe you want the pursuit of a passion or the potential for unlimited income. All right, does any of this sound familiar to you as far as wanting to start your own business? Maybe some of you've never thought about it, but I know a lot of people get into that rut. I think a lot of it happens when you're sitting in traffic, and here it is, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you've been sitting in the same traffic thinking, man, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. So let's look at some of the actual numbers involved in starting a typical bricks and mortar business. To put some of this into perspective, let's say you would like to start a business with the potential to earn $100,000 a year in your new business. So we're just going to use that as a number. Let's say you want to start a small hot tub business, and I say this because I just quickly grabbed some of the numbers I could remember from back when I opened one of the hot tub stores, And I didn't look these up. These were off the top of my head. So I do know that some of these numbers are probably very low, particularly now because I came up with these a few years back. So I'm sure these numbers are very low. But this is only a partial list of the startup and monthly expenses for, let's say, a typical small business. Now, so let's say the startup costs are $50,000 for a typical business. And now these startup costs are, again, all we're doing is trying to start a business where we could potentially earn $100,000 a year. Most small business startups fail, right? So there's only the potential. There's no guarantee. Then we've got the monthly expenses that go along with a typical business. And let's say those monthly expenses are 20 grand a month or so, which that for me was that was about, as I recall, somewhere in the $20,000 to $25,000 a month range. So now remember, we're all doing this to make $100,000 a year. So for 6 months we're in business. Chances are we haven't done much business in those first 6 months because we're still getting started. We're still having to do a lot of marketing. We're still getting the word out. People don't know about us yet. Yet that doesn't keep the bills from coming in, right? Or the inventory that has to be purchased. So let's say the first 6 months you're $176,000 into this business, and this doesn't include the owner taking any kind of salary. Okay? Now, nobody really explains this to you before you start you go into a typical business. It just seems like a really good idea. Man, I love hot tubs. I know the hot tubs inside and out, and I just love to sit in hot tubs. I think I'll start a hot tub business. Where do I start? Okay? You put these numbers together, and you better have a couple hundred grand in the bank to open the doors, to help you generate that $100,000 a year. Okay, so let's look at the typical trading business expenses. So we're going to have our startups costs, which some of these things you probably already have. VIPs you already have it. You already have probably a lot of the stuff. But let's say you're starting from scratch and you're going to be around 10 grand startup costs. Monthly expenses, maybe 75, 100 bucks, 150 bucks if you're getting super fast internet. So you put it together and you're now less than 11 grand into it for 6 months with same potential to earn $100,000 a year or more. Or it's only potential, right? So this whole idea, if you're going to start a business, if you started a hot tub business, or you started a stamp collecting business, or you started a plumbing supply business or something like that, you're going to understand that there are a lot of costs involved. There's a lot of time involved. There's a lot involved in getting that business up and running and profitable. But people tend not to think about that so much when they start going into trading. One of the nice things is that if you decide, okay, I just don't like the hot tub business. Sorry I got into it. It's a grind. It wasn't, I just wanted to sit in hot tubs all day and talk about hot tubs. Little did I know I had to do payroll taxes, and I had insurances, and I had employee problems, and I had a busted tub that flooded the showroom, and I've got and man, it's just not what I thought it was going to be. I don't want to do this anymore. Well, you're 200 grand into this. So that makes you get into a position of maybe being trapped and having to do something you really, your heart's just not in it anymore. Nice thing about the trading is it's not only ease of entry, but ease of exit. You know, if the trading business doesn't work out, it's you don't have a bunch of inventory. You don't have employees that you have to fire. You know, you don't have all of those. A lease on a building that you're going to have to buy your way out of. The equipment costs and all of that stuff that you bought. So again, you still have the same potential of earning the same $100,000 a year, but you have a lot easier entry and exit. So this whole trading as a business thing, it kind of starts making sense as far as the numbers are concerned. So what can you do to start thinking about this trading as a business thing and actually put it into practice? Okay? Now this is where I told you yesterday, you need to come into this with somewhat of an open mind and understand that we come into new things with some potentially preconceived notions and expectations. We also may have to unlearn some bad habits while we're learning some good habits, right? So what I'm going to say to you here, and some of it's going to seem like, well, I can't do that because I'm the only guy. I'm the only person at my company, and so I have to do everything, so none of this makes any sense. Okay. You need to play a little game in your head and divide up everything into segments, and then approach them as individual segments. Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So, what do you need to start being a business? This is the fun part. Create a business name. Now, why is that important? Soon as you create a business name and you identify with that business, it's become something tangible. It suddenly takes structure. It has a form. You work for a business that has a name. You're no longer somebody who's just trying to learn how to trade. You're now owner and employee of this business, this trading business. All right? What we're doing here is we're rewiring your brain. Okay? We're reconditioning. We want to condition some bad habits out, condition some good habits in. Thinking about yourself sitting down and trading is not the same as thinking about yourself as an employee of a company who has a responsibility to that company and is accountable to that company every day. That's different. You think differently that way, I promise. Next thing you do, go open a business bank account. And there's a reason for this. If you have a business, no businesses don't have bank accounts. Well, I guess from the marijuana businesses, but you've got to have a bank account if you're a business. This is step 2 to making this business something that is tangible and has value. Just open it with whatever the minimum amount that it takes to open a bank account with. Now the business has assets. Okay, it's not just you. You're part of the business. You're the owner, director, chief cook and bottle washer of this business. All right, so go get a business account. You can optionally apply for a local business license. It's really easy. If you go down to the county and just tell them you're going to run a small business out of your house, they'll give you a business license, probably $50. And again, I can't help you. All municipalities are different. Mine here locally was, and it's been a while, but it was $50 to get a business license. Ultimately, I've created a corporate entity of my trading business, and so now it's all a corporate thing, and I don't even mess with it anymore. I have bookkeepers and accountants that mess with that stuff. But to me, my business is very real as a business, and it doesn't have to be a profitable business to be a real business. That's where a lot of people get confused. They don't feel like it's a real business if they're not generating a profit. Now, what I want you to do is when you're out in public and somebody asks you what you do, you now have an answer for them. I have a futures trading business. They're not going to ask you how successful you are. They're not going to ask you if you make a lot of money. They might, but I doubt it because nobody asks me. They assume, oh, the eyebrows go up. They go, oh, a trader, huh? Wow. If he has a business at trading, he must be good. So it's not so much that you're trying to fool other people. It's how you identify yourself. How do you think about yourself as it relates to trading? You're not trying to be a trader. You are a trader. You're actually doing it. We'll help you get to that part about being successful. Don't worry about that part. But you've got to get this whole business thing set up so your mind is right, so your business is structured properly. And you now identify yourself as a trading business. All right? So one of the things I want you to do is create that business name and then email it to us. Tell us what your business name is. Those of you that are VIPs, I already have yours. But if you're just watching, I mean, you can send me your potential business name or not. That's up to you. It's up to you if you want to just sit and listen and nod and go, oh yeah, that all sounded good. Or do you want to do something? Do you want to do something about changing your thinking about trading? Changing how you're approaching trading. If you're successful and you're getting everything out of trading that you need out of it, that you want out of it, then congratulations, and I'll let you teach the next class. But if you still haven't quite gotten there yet, can you afford to just blow me off? You should be doing this work. Think about this. Understand that this isn't for me. I've already done it. This is really valuable information on how to get your mind right and quit making some of the mistakes that you've made in the past. So here's how I kind of turn things around when I thought about trading as a business. I thought about the division of labor and how when I sat down to trade every day, all of my thoughts were about money. Everything was about money. I thought about money all the time, whether I was sitting down to trade or whether I had just left trading or whether I was getting up to trade or what, didn't matter. Always Money was my main focus all of the time. So as I managed to kind of think back on my other businesses, I started thinking, as the the business owner, was I always thinking about money with everything I did? Was it about money? And the answer is no, it was about doing my job. Now, of course, you want to do your job so you can make a living. Of course, you want to be smart about how you spend money or waste money. Of course, as a business owner, you have to think about those things a lot. But it is not the focus of what you do all day long every day. Running a business does not mean thinking about money all day long every day. If you do think about money all the time running a business, you're not going to have a very successful business. You're not going to have happy customers for sure. So I started thinking about this division of labor, and I started thinking, now, the way I trade now, if I went to work for somebody that was at a trading company, and they hired me to come in and be the lead trader for this company. And my job as the lead trader was simply to learn the trade plan and execute that trade plan. How long would I get to keep that job? So I'm asking you. I'm sick of trading. I'm tired of it. I got other things I'd rather be doing. But I still need to trade because I still need the income. So I'm going to hire a lead trader for my trading business, and you've applied for this job, and I've granted you this job. I've spent time teaching you my trade plan. This trade plan is something that you've got to execute to the letter. And then at the end of each day, you have to come in my office and stand before me and go over every single trade decision you made with me and show me on your job description, your trade plan, why the decision you made followed the trade plan. Or decision you didn't make. Okay? Because there's a lot of lost opportunities because we get too scared or whatever. If I hired you to trade my account for me, would I be forced to fire you? Any of you? Would you be able to keep that job and be able to come back day after day and follow the rules of my trade plan to the letter every single day? Chances are a lot of you would say no. I haven't been able to find that in myself and not trade my gut. Not trade what I think is going to happen, because I get bored sometimes, or I get excited, or I think that something was happening that wasn't happening, or whatever. Another group of you will say, oh, hell yeah, I would be able to do that job because I don't want you thinking I'm stupid. So suddenly I'll stop making all those stupid mistakes I was making. I'll stop operating and making trades outside of my trade plan, or doing things just to see what would happen, or because I thought I knew what was going to happen. My gut told me that, oh, price was going to drop here, and then it didn't. you would stop doing those kind of things because you know you're going to be accountable. You're going to have to stand in front of a superior and tell them why you did what you did that was outside of the trade plan. And you want to keep that job. And you don't want to look stupid. You don't want to feel stupid. You've never been fired from a job in your life. So you're going to follow the rules and get to keep the job because you're accountable to somebody else for those decisions. This is how you need to sit down every day when you start trading. You need to sit down with the mindset that you are accountable to somebody else for every trade decision you make. No more of this, well, that was just sim. I wanted to see what would happen. It didn't work out. It doesn't count. I didn't really mean it anyway, so I'm just going to ignore that. Nope. Everything you do, you have to be accountable to somebody else. You start thinking that way. The division of labor. Let somebody else worry about the money. Don't think about there are bookkeepers in this company. Of course, yes, I know. I understand it's you, but not during trading hours. My bookkeeper in the construction business did not go out to the job site and watch the guys cutting wood to make sure they didn't cut the wrong piece of wood that had to be replaced because that piece of wood was for some other part of the project. She didn't do that. She would deal with that when the time came. When she was doing job costing for each job, she would deal with whether we hit our target, we went over, we went under, whatever. And that was something that was dealt with later. And then we would review the plan and say, oh, well, this is why that happened. Maybe we need to change the plans next time. Okay, so there's time to revise the plan, which is not during game time. Okay? Game time is the hours that you're actually trading. Even if you're sim trading, you do not play around when you're sim trading. Okay? You're accountable for every trade decision, whether it's real money or not. And you have to play this little game with yourself, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. So you got to divide up your business into different responsibilities. It's funny, even to this day, and I say this every time we do this AHA session. I had a mobile office for a while, and for whatever reason, that's the one I remember the most. I had a big piece of property where all of our equipment was, and I had a big barn where all of the stuff was stored. And so we kind of, instead of putting an office in the barn, I got a big portable building, and that was our offices for a long time. So my bookkeeper sat in the office next to me. And it's funny because every time I go over this, I think about how whenever something comes up related to money, my mind always goes to the right because that's where she sat. And I would know that was her job, not my job at the time. Okay? So we're dividing up different responsibilities. Of course, we have a boss. The boss's job is to oversee and make sure all the other people are doing their job. The boss's job isn't to do everybody's job for them. Right? Yeah, so of course you're the boss. The boss. Exactly, Dwayne. Of course you're the boss. The boss reviews what everybody else is doing and then changes directions or makes changes accordingly based on the results that this group effort is getting. Okay? You need a lead trader. Yes, that's going to be you. From 8 a.m. to noon, or whenever your trading hours are, your job is to execute the trade plan exactly as it's written. If you have 4 losing trades, but you executed the plan exactly as it was written, you mark that as a successful day because you followed the plan perfectly. Now, if you have a bunch of those days following the plan and they're not working out more and more of them, It's time for the boss to start reviewing that plan and make changes, and then give you a new plan. And you follow that plan. Like I said, the bookkeeper doesn't go to the job site. Your bookkeeper should not be trading. Bookkeepers count money, and bookkeepers want to save money. Your bookkeeper shouldn't get anywhere near a trading chart or a trading platform. That happens later. When you're trading, you do your job, and then let the bookkeeper do their job. What about somebody who's in charge of training? Yes, that's you, but not while you're trading, not while you're doing bookkeeping, not while you're doing other things. You set up a time for training and practice and analysis. There's a specific time for that every single day. And that's when you do that job. And you're not doing money. You're not thinking about money. You're not worried what the lead trader is doing on a day-to-day basis. You're designing and executing a practice program, a trade analysis program that is totally separate from these other tasks. And then we have record keeping and planning. All different parts of running a successful business. And you can do this. All you have to do is divide it up and take each little piece rather than trying to do it all at once when you're sitting down and trading. Because that offers too many emotions, too many shades of gray, too overwhelming. The bookkeeper takes control of everything and screws it all up. Those of you that think about money almost all the time have got a long road to hoe. I spent a lot of time, and this is another AHA session that VIPs will be coming up to this one. This was one of my favorite ones. I spent a lot of time teaching myself to not think about money. You can do it. Right now, you're allowing your emotions to make you think about money. There's a lot to it to get to that point, and we're going to talk about all of that. All right. So we've gone to the trouble of coming up with a name. We've gone to the trouble of maybe a logo and a bank account. We've gone to the trouble of developing a company structure with divisions of labor. Now it's time to be a business. Don't just pretend you're a business. That's going to make it so much easier, and you're going to be so much more efficient to condition yourself to think differently. Don't just pretend. Be a business. Well, what's a business going to do? They're going to have business hours. You're going to have dedicated days and times that you're going to do certain things in that business, that business is going to be open, that you're going to be at work. You know, you're not going to just say, oh, well, I'm done with trading for the day, I'm taking off. Trading is just part of what you do as a business owner. If you think that running a trading business is just about trading, then this might be eye-opening for you. Trading is what generates the income. It is not everything that you need to do to run a successful business. We talk about all the stuff that you actually need to do in more AHA sessions. So you need to have a plan with dedicated days and times. You need to show up. And what I mean by show up, get up, do everything that you normally do before you head out the door to go to work. Get dressed, have your breakfast, be ready to go, and show up for work. Don't roll out of bed and crawl over to the computer in your pajamas and then decide to start your day after you're done trading. All right? It's all about getting your head right. If you, I'm sure many of you have jobs where you have bosses. To some degree, bosses will allow certain distractions, but would your boss allow the number of distractions that you probably allow yourself while you're trading? The dog's running in and out, the cat's needing your attention, the kids needing your attention, your husband or wife needing a ride to work, missed the school bus, oh, I got to take the garbage out. You've got to reduce those distractions to the point where it would be pretty much the same as when you go to work. The whole reason that a lot of people still have offices, an office building. My son-in-law just opened his business is a few years old, but they just opened a new office. And I asked him, I said, why, this, with everything that we can do online now, why do you feel you need the expense of an office space? And he said, and that was his point. It was there's just fewer distractions. When people show up to work, they work because there's nothing else to do there, and that's what everybody else is doing. So he says we just get so much more done when people show up and work here than if we allowed them to work from home because things just don't seem to get done. Too many distractions. So be a business. Make sure each department did their job, boss. Each department has a checklist. Make them accountable. Did each department complete their job before leaving for the day? Okay, we went over some departments, right? Did the training department perform a training that day? Did they do their trade analysis that day? Did the bookkeeper go over what they need to go over that day? Did the lead trader go through and do all of his trade analysis for that day? And have a checklist. You as the boss have to make sure that the things that you expect to be done are done. And if not, would you fire that person if they continue to perform that way? I was busy. I couldn't do my trade analysis because, I had too many other things going on and, I just couldn't do it. And you let it pile up for a week or two and you go, oh, now I've got 63 trades I've got to do analysis on. I'll screw it. It's not going to make that much difference anyway. As the boss of that company, knowing that one of the employees had that responsibility, would you continue to employ that person? All right, so now you're accountable to yourself. You're accountable to your company, and the boss is accountable to the company, and everybody's accountable to each other. Okay, yes, it's all you. I understand. This is a conditioning exercise, and it absolutely works. We have dozens or hundreds of people that have done this and have reached some new level of success that they hadn't before. So again, now everybody's accountable to each other. Now, accountability. Make your business accountable to you. Here's an actionable thing that I want you all to do. And you can start as soon as I get off the microphone. First thing I want you to do, I want you to go make a list of your personal bills. And then I want you to rank that list from the smallest bill to the largest bill. This is one of the best exercises we've ever come up with. And this helps people tremendously, taking that next step to making the business accountable. And once you see that the business is accountable and can be accountable to you, it reinforces that this business is a real thing. Okay? So you're going to rank this list. You're going to remove the smallest bill from your personal bills. You're going to scratch it off. And you're going to add it to a list that you're going to create that the business is responsible for paying every month. Now, I did this, and for me, it was my water bill. It was my smallest bill. At the time, it was like $26 a month or something. I think it's zoomed up to $30-something a month now. So my mission every month was not to make a bunch of money or as much money as I could. My mission was to end the month having made enough money to pay the water bill. Now my business has done its job. It has allowed me to remove the water bill from my personal expenses, and it has taken it on as the business expense. After you've done that for a couple of months, find the next smallest bill. Assign that to the business, and now the business, your mission, your focus is not to make a lot of money so you can quit your job. Your focus is to make enough money to pay the water bill and this other bill. And you do that for a couple of months. This is an actionable way to transition from being a hobbyist trader or a trader who's just thinks they're trying to learn how to trade. This is an actionable way to transition from being that type of trader to somebody who can actually generate an income with trading. You don't try to make a whole bunch of money immediately. Small steps is the fastest way to become successful at this. So we've got job descriptions and company policy. You've got to write them out. You've got to have a detailed description for what each employee and department is responsible for each day. You want to write up a company mission statement. You Google mission statements. Find one that speaks to you. Create one that speaks to you. Set up all your company policies. We're going to talk about in another AHA session coming up all the different types of plans that need to be created for your business. Okay? One of the most important parts of a plan is not the plan. Okay? The plan is not the most important part of having these plans. It's the process of preparing the plan that's important. So if you think you're going to go out and you're going to Google all these plans and you're going to find a template and you're going to fill in the blanks and then you have a plan, you're sorely mistaken because you're not going to use that plan. That plan's going to mean nothing to you. So we're going to walk you through step by step each of these plans and how to think about these plans and how to approach them so that the process becomes more important than the final plan, when to be honest there really is no final plan. you have a plan that you finish it one and then it starts all over again, and it's a never-ending thing. That's one of the things about a plan that nobody ever taught me when I was trying to learn this trading thing. Oh, you need a trade plan. Oh, okay. Google trade plan. Find a template, fill in the blanks, put it on the shelf. Yep, I have a trade plan. And that's the last time I ever saw it. Didn't know what to do with it. Nobody ever told me what I was supposed to do with it. So we'll talk about that in another AHA session. All right, so VIPs, you just got an overdose of some of the stuff on trading as a business. We're going to break some of these down into more detail coming up in the next weeks. Those of you that are not part of our VIP program, this is the kind of stuff that we go through every week. We do it in a little bit smaller chunks so that they're more digestible, so that you don't get so overwhelmed with too much information, and that you can take it in small steps. Okay? Do we have any questions about this? Either our VIP program, our AHA sessions, what I talked about tonight. Any questions? This was just a small taste of what we have in these AHA sessions. I know you may feel that I left out a lot of stuff. Truth is, I will eventually go over all of it, and then I'll go over it again and again. And we do have, oh yeah, we do have some specials that we were running. I don't have the slides for those, but Lisa does have a link to the website where you can go see those specials. If you need to talk to Lisa or Connor, just send us an email at bunt@theintentionaltrader if you have any questions. Here's the thing about the specials. This is the last special of the year. This is also the last special that we're having before prices go up, because we have a new indicator called the Rockstar indicator. And we have not officially released the Rockstar indicator. As soon as we do, all of our packages are going up. Now, for those of you that are thinking of VIP, now's the time to do VIP if you've been thinking about it, because as soon as we release the Rockstar, VIP is going up. Now, if you're a VIP now, everybody who's a VIP gets the Rockstar free. So VIPs get all new indicators for free. Everything we develop for the trade room, VIPs get for free. So those of you that are VIPs, you're the first ones that'll be getting the Rockstar as soon as we release it. The programmer did something stupid. He sent me back a version this morning of the wrong thing, and so I sent it back to him. It's supposed to have one tiny little change in it, and he screwed it up. So it will be most likely mid next week sometime. We've got documentation that we're polishing up. So we'll get that released out to you guys, VIPs, next week. So if you're on the fence and you don't, and you're thinking, well, I'll just do it later, this is it. This is the lowest that VIP will ever be. Any other questions? No questions? You guys just sitting quietly? Did I put you all to sleep? I hope some of you found something enlightening. When is the session? Oh, you're funny. Yeah, welcome back, Alan. Okay, I don't have to be nice to you anymore. It is a lot to think about, Dwayne. Fortunately, we recorded it, and you can take it and watch the recording and maybe take it in chunks like it's originally intended to be. But feel free to email me if you have questions. We're happy to answer questions. All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. I hope you found this enjoyable and enlightening. And hopefully we'll see you all very soon. Have a great evening. Night, everybody.